From the BzG studio in the Mission Dolores district, right in the heart of San Francisco, it's BzG News with Barrett Courtney.
Thank you so much all the way back there. Thank you so much all the way up here. And thank you right here. What's up, everybody? My name is Barrett Courtney, and this is BzG News, your last resort for all of the nerdy news that you need to care about. A bunch of crazy stuff happening this week, but just to give some updates on myself, you know, I've been watching BoJack Horseman. My good friend Sean Pitts from IGN finally got me to watch this stupid show since season 3 came out couple weeks ago, and I'll tell you, the first time I watched BoJack Horseman, I think it was just sort of wrong place, wrong time for me, so I finally went back to it, and I'm enjoying it. So, you know, BoJack Horseman coming out, Stranger Things is also out. I hear great things about that. I need to probably watch that sometime soon to, you know, have conversations about it with people who are like, watch Stranger Things. Mr. Robot, I got to catch up on. A lot of TV things I just need to catch up on for my week. Some other crazy stuff happened this week. Pokemon Go lost its Pokevision, which, you know, means the game is basically broken. There's no way of officially finding out where exactly a Pokemon is. So, as I predicted, Pokemon Go will probably be dead in the next 2 weeks, I would say. Maybe even sooner if they don't try to fix it as soon as possible, because a lot of people are complaining about this, and I really feel like this will be the end for Pokemon Go. But, you know, that's all nerdy news that we shouldn't care about. Let's get into the nerdy news that we officially care about this week. As some of you may know, No Man's Sky comes out next week, but someone was able to buy a leased copy of the game on eBay for allegedly $1,250. He was able to reach the center of the game, which is like the big gimmick, right? It's like this almost like nonstop, like crazy universe where there's an infinite amount of planets, but there's still a center of the universe, and like the whole gimmick is to try to get there and see what is at the center of the universe. I think it might be just a picture of Randy Savage's face. He was able to reach the center of the game in a matter of 30 hours and put some of his progression up on Dailymotion. So if you don't know, this Dailymotion user, Damien or whatever, was able to buy this, and he started streaming and putting up videos of his progression of the game up on Dailymotion. The videos were removed around the same time Sean Murray posted on Twitter that he was disappointed in the game's leak and told fans to not ruin the game for themselves. The person in question said he would no longer post any videos in respect for Murray and his team. Due to this leak, there have been some concerns voiced by fans about the game's quality and actual length. So, couple things to digest here. I would say, like, the weird thing is this user Damien was talking about he's not going to post any more videos because of respect for Sean Murray. He respects those people and whatnot. If you would respect the developer and the people who've been working on this game for a very long time, wouldn't you just wait and not spend apparently about $1,000 to buy this game early? Like, come on, like you got to have patience. Good things come to those who wait. And so it's just a lot of this leak has been putting up bad things, right? He said he was able to get to the center of the universe in about 30 hours. And the big thing was, like, it would take at least 40 hours or whatever to get to the center of the universe, depending on, like, where you start in the game. So a lot of people are concerned about the actual length and the actual quality and what the gameplay loop is like. It seems like a lot of these planets that we're talking about here are very similar to one another. There's not a lot of diversity amongst these planets. And this is something I predicted. This is something like, okay, we're going to scan this place. It's going to be, you know, a different color or whatever. And it's going to have like one different species. And that's going to be about it. And then you go back into your ship and do whatever. So I honestly think my prediction here, unless reviews have started going up by the time you guys are watching this, I'm recording this on Wednesday, so there's nothing yet for reviews. My My prediction for the average review, the sort of like the Metacritic sort of averaging out review scores, I think it's going to be a solid 7. I think it's not going to be terrible. I don't think it's going to be like this, it sucks. And apparently there are glitches and whatnot, but what game doesn't have glitches today? They're apparently working on a day 1 patch, so I wouldn't worry about those things that Damien was posting on Dailymotion, people being worried about all these like bugs and whatnot that they showed in those videos. But I don't think it's going to be this crazy, exciting, revolutionary game. I think the back end of it, here's the thing. I think No Man's Sky is going to be the Boyhood of video games. The content itself, what you are experiencing in the moment, is boring as all hell. Boyhood was literally a movie about me. I was from the Midwest, and I had step parents who were, really crappy, and all of this stuff. And then it was literally just a movie about life, and they didn't know where to end the movie. It went on way too long. But the way they made Boyhood was way more interesting than the movie itself, right? Sticking with the same actors for like 10 years and slowly filming it over a course of 10 years. Really interesting stuff. But I think the way they made No Man's Sky is going to be way more interesting than the game itself. It's going to be like this sort of weird gameplay loop. It's going to be a questioning of what the gameplay sort of is, and like what besides getting to the center of the universe, like what else is there to do, really? So I think that is going to dwindle down the quality of this game, is sort of this repetitive weirdness of all these planets being basically the same thing. But I think the way they made it, apparently on disk, it's only 6 gigabytes, and a lot of that file is music. So I think it's fascinating of like how they're generating these planets and how we could use that in future video games. So I don't think the game itself is going to be interesting, but I think the way they made it is actually really fascinating. And I hope we see that way of making games in future. I hope they inspire other people to use that sort of way of making a game and put it into a better quality, better concept of a game, I would say. So there you go. My thoughts on No Man's Sky, since it's about to come out. It'll be interesting to see. I'm really excited, not because of the game itself, but to see the reception and have discussions with it, most likely with Henry, because he'll probably get it. Anyway, moving on. If you were disappointed with EA's attempt at Battlefront, don't worry. Frontwire Studios, originally a group of Star Wars fans, but now an actual development team, is making their own build of Star Wars Battlefront 3, taking concepts from leaked gameplay footage from years ago. Well, it's no longer going to be a Star Wars themed after Frontwire and Lucasfilm met to discuss some obvious copyright issues. The game Galaxy in Turmoil is what it's called, is still happening, but just without any Star Wars IP, leaving obvious inspirations from the first 2 Battlefront games, gameplay-wise, but having to make their own universe and sort of leaving out this all the Star Wars stuff. And so this was you might have been following this. Has been a story developing for like the last 6 months, I would say. When Battlefront came out, they were like, "Oh, this isn't the sort of Battlefront we want. We want to make, we want to bring back like the old school Battlefront of like the Galaxy Conquest, which is the best mode in any Battlefront game. Sort of like going from planet to planet and having like these big sort of battles, but with like AI and all of this stuff, and not like the solo play on the new Battlefront where it's like you're on a team of like 15 people and they're on a team of 15 people or whatever. Like actual huge battles where set pieces are moving along that you might not even be involved in. So I think it's a really cool thing. And apparently, they met with Lucasfilm and they thought they would be able to, pitch this idea maybe to EA. EA apparently rejected it a long time ago, because they wanted their Battlefront to be focused on more. And they met with Lucasfilm. They were a little scared that Lucasfilm was going to be like, "You're the worst. We're going to sue you." They got a cease and desist, obviously. But they were able to work something out, and they're like, "Hey, as long as you don't use Star Wars characters and Star Wars planets and all of this stuff, this is fine. Like, you guys can still make the game, but like use other skins and whatnot to layer on top." And so I think that's really cool. So if you're missing that sort of old school Battlefront gameplay, I would suggest checking that out. I think it's going to I think they're making it primarily for Steam. I think that's really the only place they can put it out on. So I would check that out, and I would follow that story if you're interested in that. Anyway, moving on. If you're a PlayStation fan and we're questioning whether or not to buy an Xbox One for Inside, the new video game developed by Playdead, who is the developer for Limbo. You should wait. You should wait to buy an Xbox One because according to a trusted source of BzG 247, the game by Limbo developer Playdead will be available on PS4 later this month. And while nothing has been confirmed yet, trophies for the game have appeared on Exophase Update. I was looking through the news this morning, updating maybe some of these news articles that, we might be a little late to by the time this posts. But there's an update this morning. Playdead has confirmed that Inside will be available for PlayStation 4 on August 23rd. So if you're really hoping to get to that like Limbo sort of style game and that sort of Limbo experience for a game soon, here you go. I'm excited. I really enjoyed Limbo, so I imagine I'm really going to enjoy it Inside, which is really weird. Limbo is usually not my type of game, but really, really loved it when I decided to try it out. I think it was. I'm trying to remember if it was a free PlayStation game of the month at one point, because I think that's the reason why I have it. Because I can't imagine a situation where I actually bought that with my own money. Maybe it was discounted. I don't know why. I don't remember how I got Limbo. I have it though. But I remember playing it for the first time about a little less than a year ago, and I absolutely fell in love with it, especially the ending. So I imagine Inside will hopefully give me that same experience. A lot of people love it, so there's some questions about like the story itself, but I'm excited. I really love like the sort of art that they do for those games. So look out for that later this month. So with Game of Thrones Season 6 recently wrapping up, there has been a lot of speculation on when the series will finally come to an end. And while nothing has been confirmed when showrunners David Benoif, I don't know, and DB Wise said they only wanted 2 more seasons, HBO has now officially stated that the hit series will end after 8 seasons. And while the amount of episodes left haven't been confirmed, the showrunners have also discussed only having 7 episodes for season 7 and 6 for season 8. So if you don't know, I've also caught up on Game of Thrones. I had left off at like the beginning of season 4 after, spoilers, Joffrey dies, and I was like, all right, that was the guy I really hated, and that was the guy I wanted to see end, and he came to an end, so I didn't really care anymore. But a lot of people were like, wow, man, season 6 is amazing. So I was like, all right, I should probably catch up. So I think this is really cool. I'm glad that they're finally taking the time and being not trying to beat a dead horse. I feel like Game of Thrones is sort of this like inconsistent quality TV show. A lot of people are like, oh man, it's so great all the time, every day. But no, the 2 best seasons I would say would be season 4 and season 6. And those are the 2 like actually good seasons. The other ones, they're okay. So I'm glad that they're finally taking the time to be like, hey, we should probably end this and not go for like another 10 season. Because that reminds me a lot of Breaking Bad, where Breaking Bad when Breaking Bad became super popular, that's when they made the smart move and said, we should end this. We should end this right now before we beat the dead horse. So I think it's smart. And I think it's smart to also maybe have less episodes every season, give us a little taste, a little less of a taste each season to make us want a little more, especially after I imagine season 7 will end and it'll only be like 7 or 8 episodes possibly. And then we want more. And so they know how to build a hype train here. So I'm excited. I honestly think it's going to end with 3 people ruling the kingdom. And I think it's obvious. I think it's obvious who's going to rule the kingdom at one point, but I won't say it here, just in case you haven't caught up. I'm sorry if, I ruined Joffrey's death for you, but, it's 2 years ago. If you haven't watched it at this point, like, you don't care. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Some good news for the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy sequel. And this is me interpreting it as good news. It's sort of whatever news, but I think it's good news. Director James Gunn has said that there will be no Infinity Stones involved in the movie's plot. He said that the follow-up is not intended to be a lead-up to any other movie like Avengers Infinity War. It's just to focus on the Guardians themselves. The movie is currently slated for May 5th, 2017. I really like this because, you know, every movie has to somehow like, oh, the cosmic cube is somehow the space gem, and oh hey, let's make Vision with the mind gem and all of the stuff. But I will say the first Guardians of the Galaxy sort of made sense of the Infinity Stone. The Power Stone, I think, is the one that was in the first Guardians movie. I think it made sense because, you know, they're in space and that's where the Infinity Stones come from and whatnot. So it made sense. It wasn't this weird forced thing. Whatever. So I like that, like to make its own story and then to possibly have like the effect, like whatever happens in Guardians Volume 2 might affect future movies, but they're not going to focus on like, oh, we need to set all of these things up, because that's what the worst Marvel movies are, right? Iron Man 3 was trying to set up like all of these like weird little different things. No, not Iron Man 3. Iron Man 2 was trying to set up all of these different things, and Avengers 2 trying to set up all of these different things. And those are the two worst movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and because they're trying to do so many different things at once. And that's what DC movies don't understand right now. From what I understand, and I'll talk about a little later, Suicide Squad is used to set up a couple of different things, and Batman v Superman was set up used to set up like 10 different movies when it couldn't even focus on itself. And that's when you have at least a good movie, when it can at least focus on itself. When you're using a movie to try to build hype for another movie, that's not right. That's not why people should be in filmmaking. So just my 2 cents. And that's why I think no Infinity Stones in Guardians Volume 2 is awesome. Also, Kurt Russell as the planet, Ego the Planet, is hilarious. And I love that idea, and I can't wait to see that. Anyway, if you were wondering when Fallout 4 mods are finally coming to PS4, well, Bethesda has given an update. And that update is basically nothing, absolutely nothing. Bethesda's marketing boss Pete Hines tweeted out, quote, "We're working with Sony on Fallout 4 mods for PS4. The process is still under evaluation. As soon as we learn more, we will share news," unquote. When asked about the update and keeping fans in the light back in late July when mod support was supposed to arrive, Hines said, quote, "I don't disagree. I have explained that to others so we can get/share an update. So far, that hasn't worked," unquote. He was then asked if the other people he was referring to was in fact Sony. He responded with, quote, "I'm not going to get into specifics. If I was able to have an open dialogue and explain what's up, I would have long ago," unquote. So, you know, it's a known fact throughout the history of huge Bethesda games being on PlayStation consoles, they never go out too well. From what I understand, Skyrim on PS3 was awful. A lot of people talk crap about Fallout 4 on PS4, and I do understand. You know, you can think whatever you want to think about the quality of Fallout 4 in itself without thinking about all the bugs, but there were some like graphical things that like not graphical, but like technical things like the frame rates and all of that stuff. Like Fallout 4 definitely doesn't run the best on PS4. So it's this history with Bethesda and Sony and whatnot. So I feel like Sony is giving Bethesda a hard time of like what mods will be able to do and how easily they can crash and whatnot. So I don't think this is on Bethesda. I think this is actually on Sony right now. Or maybe it's both. Maybe it's Sony saying like, hey, you guys need to fix this, this, and this. And Bethesda's like, we don't know if we have the resources for that. I don't know. There's a lot of different angles that we could see this at. But I also think it's weird that they even talk about it. You know, like Pete Hines, he's the head of marketing. You'd think that, you know, he's probably getting asked every single day from people like Max Romero on Twitter being like, hey, when are Fallout 4 mods coming to PS4? Hey, when are Fallout 4 mods coming to PS4? He probably gets that every single day. So he's probably fed up with the question. So he just wanted to give another non-update update. But I think it would be smarter to just keep quiet about it. Just keep quiet and just not say anything until you're ready to say something. I think that's a sort of a big mistake, especially coming from someone who is the head of marketing. So who knows? I'm excited for Fallout 4 mods. I'm also excited for Nuka World. I still have not played Far Harbor. I want to sort of restart Fallout 4 and sort of play through it again before I get into Far Harbor. So yeah, there's your non-update update for Fallout 4's mods on PS4. Anyway, sticking with sort of Sony stuff, Sony has released its financial information from April 1st through June 30th. Overall sales were at $3.2 billion, a 14% increase from last year. And while the profits ended up at $546 million, the gaming division made $427 million of that, which is approximately 78% of the total company earnings. In the 3-month period, 3.5 million PS4s have been sold, which now brings PS4 to a total of 43.5 million units sold. And Sony currently projects that the PS4 will hit 60 million units by the end of the financial year in March 2017. So a lot of cool things to talk about here. I congrats to the gaming division of Sony for, basically putting the rest of the company on its back, saying, hey, we got this, motherfuckers. Because, movies like Ghostbusters isn't doing so well for the Sony picture department. Am I right? So I think it's cool that a lot of the gaming is sort of getting recognition here and saying hey, they're doing really well. So maybe in the future we'll be able to get more focus from the company with the gaming division, maybe a little more money put into the gaming division. So maybe that we can get some more updates for PS4. Maybe we can finally change our name so they can put money into that and figure that out. All the weird stuff going on there. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be an exciting time for PS4 because of how well they're selling and seeing what they can do in the future because of the money that they're getting right now. And hopefully they will use that money for good ideas. And also, I think it's ambitious that they want to hit 60 million units by the end of March 2017. That's a crazy idea, just because, let's see, in 3 months, they sold 3.5 million units. So that's about 1.125, I would say, per month. I don't know. I can't do math. So, it's still a lull, the beginning of the summer, there's not a lot of games coming out, not a lot of big sales or anything. PS4, I don't think, was discounted at all during the beginning of the summer and throughout the middle of the summer. So it'll be interesting to see whether that increases when we get closer to the big fall lineup of video games. You got No Man's Sky, which is coming out next week, so maybe we see a little bit of increase there because No Man's Sky is console exclusive to the PS4, still coming out to PC a couple days later. And then I'm trying to think of what other exclusive games are coming out for PS4. We got The Last Guardian. Maybe that'll increase a little numbers. Who knows? I honestly don't think The Last Guardian is going to hit as well as other fanboys of Team Ico think it's going to do. And then I'm trying to think. Henry Montiero, who's in the crowd today. Is there any big Sony exclusive game coming out this fall that we know of? Neo, yeah. I don't think there's any huge fall exclusive, so it'll be interesting to see if PS4 will halt at all. But we haven't, there haven't been any, last fall there wasn't a big fall game for PS4, and the year before that there wasn't really a big PS4 game exclusive. So, but they've still been selling like hotcakes, so who knows? Maybe just the third parties will still help the PS4 out. You still got some other big games coming out this year, so it'll be interesting to see how Sony does and if they'll actually hit their goal of 60 million units. Anyway, we've got some breaking news this morning. It's not huge news, but it's breaking. It just broke about half hour ago, but the time you guys are watching this, it doesn't even matter. It's fucking 2 days old. Who cares? Powers, the Sony exclusive TV show, which you can get for free if you have PlayStation Plus, has been canceled after 2 seasons. Brian Michael Bendis, the sort of the showrunner, says it's canceled for now. Sort of alluding to hopes of the show coming back maybe one day, because he says people behind the scenes still believe in the show and they still are really proud of the show. I have not heard anything about the quality of the show, but definitely when it came out, no one really cared. It's an IP that I think was originally a comic, but wasn't even like a groundbreaking comic. So it was interesting to see like them look at like all of like sort of like the smaller comics they could like do and make into a TV series, and they were like, yeah, that generic one right there. And I think that's the problem. Powers looks too generic, and that's sad for someone like Brian Michael Bendis, who is so creative to be involved with something like that, because I think Brian Michael Bendis is a very smart man and knows how to develop characters well. But Powers just always looked very, very generic. So who knows? I would rather see him be attached to something else, maybe like Sex Criminals or something. I think that would be a really cool idea to have him like do a Sex Criminals TV show or TV episodic sort of series. So there you go. Powers is canceled, and that is all of the news for this week. But before we go, we still have one more segment. It's called Don't Forget, where I talk about all of the upcoming movies, TV shows, music, video games, and sometimes comic books, so you don't forget to check those things out this week. Today, you can watch it right now. You can, after this episode, you can go out and watch this movie. It's Suicide Squad, which is currently at 34% on Rotten Tomatoes and 48 on Metacritic, which is sort of almost backwards. It's always Metacritic that has the lower score and Rotten Tomatoes that has the higher score. Sort of upsetting. I'm really excited for Suicide Squad. By the time you're watching this, I have seen it. There should be a review later today, possibly with a special guest. Still don't know the logistics. There will definitely be a review. I just don't know if there's going to be a special guest or not. All of that has still yet to be decided. So you can get my full thoughts later today. I'm trying to get it up by noon. So if you want to come back at 12 p.m. Later today, you can go check that out. But I'm still excited. I'm still hopeful. I just want to have fun. But you know what? I also just wanted to have fun for Batman v Superman, and that movie was utter garbage. So it's a little disappointing. What I'm expecting here for Suicide Squad, I'll be disappointed in Leto's Joker because I don't think Leto understands what the Joker needs to be. And I'm not saying Joker needs to be Heath Ledger Joker all the time. I just don't think he's really understanding what the Joker should be in this universe. And I don't think the director David Ayer also understands that, because, you know, it's sort of on the actor to sort of figure out this character, but it's also on the director to sort of direct him and to give him a good source of like what this Joker should be. And I think in the context of the rest of this universe, I think this Joker sort of doesn't make sense. And sort of the wacky zacky things he did to stay in character, I think is disgusting. Sending Will Smith a pig with its throat cut open, and sending like used condoms and dead rats and all of that stuff. Like, that stuff isn't what Joker would really do. And I was discussing this with I believe Max Romero, the Filipino chump, saying that Heath Ledger, he's a method actor, very much how Leto is trying to do Joker, but Ledger put all of that on himself. He never tried to impose any of that crazy dark stuff on anybody else, and Leto is definitely just imposing his craziness onto other people, and I think that's disgusting. As someone who was an actor and was definitely just trying to get into the mind of characters, I would never go that far. I think that's disgusting, and I think Leto should, probably apologize for the things that he did to the rest of that cast. Rant over. Anyway, if you want to watch a good movie today, well, I hope it's good. The Little Prince, or as Ricky Baldazan likes to hear me say, Le Petit Prince, is out on Netflix today at 95% currently on Rotten Tomatoes and 71 on Metacritic. See, there you go. Lower score on Metacritic, higher score on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm really excited for this. I think it'll still hold true a little bit to the book, but adding like sort of this sort of foil with this new girl. The girl part of the movie is not what the book was about. The book was literally just about the man stranded in the desert with the little prince, and the little prince telling the man about all the stories of him in space. That's literally just what the book is. So I'm excited to watch it. I will probably cry when I saw, because you go on Netflix now and like the main thing will be like a trailer for something coming out soon, and I opened up Netflix to watch BoJack Horseman, and the trailer popped up for the Little Prince, and I gasped, and a tear came out, and I'm not kidding. I was so just watch that movie. Watch it. Watch it. Anyway, enough about movies. No Man's Sky comes out August 8th, 9th. I probably should have written this down. I'm an idiot. Here we go. Improv things. August 9th is when No Man's Sky comes out. There have been some mixed reactions to the leaked gameplay stuff, as I said before. And again, I think it'll be a solid 7. So if you're excited for that, and if you want to be in the big gaming conversation that is No Man's Sky, I would suggest picking it up. I probably won't, but I think it'll be an interesting conversation. It would be much like Batman v Superman. It's probably, not great, but you got to check it out just to be part of the conversation, right? So No Man's Sky, check that out. It's coming out. And now I noticed I haven't been doing a lot of comics lately. I haven't been giving updates on like what comics are coming out. So just going to list off some comics coming out, but I'm going to take a little minute to talk about this first comic, All-Star Batman #1, written by Scott Snyder, my boy Scott Snyder. Art by John Romita Jr. Sort of the Scott Snyder is continuing on with Batman, but is in his own sort of side stories of the Batman rebirth. Batman has its main one. I don't know who the series writer is for that, but Scott Snyder is still sticking with Batman, doing All-Star Batman. He's been hyping it up a lot, talking about Two-Face and sort of the story with Two-Face and how he's really excited. He's been posting up teaser pictures. I'm really excited. Scott Snyder is Bay and understands how to tell a Batman story. And I think if you want to see the epitome of Batman stories and how they're told and just what they could truly be, pay attention to Scott Snyder's work. Read all of New 52, like core New 52 Batman stuff. Don't go into the outer stuff like Bat Family and whatever. Just the core Batman stuff. Court of Owls, 0 Year, Death of the Family, Super Heavy's okay. Those are just and Endgame. Endgame is really, really well done. But my favorite is 0 Year, and that actually is my favorite Batman comic of all time. Anyway, some other comics coming out this week is Deathstroke Rebirth #1, Flash #4, Black Panther #5. Someone sound off in the comments below if you've been reading Black Panther. I want to get into it, and I haven't heard anything about it. So I know a lot of people are excited because of the writer for Black Panther, but I have honestly not heard a thing about it. Darth Vader #24 and Spider-Man / Deadpool #8, all coming out next week. I imagine on Wednesday, because that's the day that comics usually drop. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been BzG News. Remember, it's your last resort for all of the nerdy news that you need to care about. Some housekeeping before I go. Next week on YouTube, when the Talking Shit segments come out, we have a new host, Mr. Max Romero. I'm really excited. It's a good show. We talk about some silly things like being stuck in Walmart and movies and stuff. He will be the new regular member of Talking Shit, and I'm really excited for you guys to watch that episode. So check that out when it comes out. And also, remember, come back here in a couple hours for the Suicide Squad review. Me, possibly a special guest, possibly just me. Who knows? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me for BzG News this week. Remember, BzG News is up every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on youtube.com/BayZoneGamers and bzgamers.com. Remember to join me next week for some more nerdy news, but until then, stay nerdy. Thank you so much, all the way up in the back, all the way up here, and all the way right here. You're all beautiful. Thank you so much.